In the heart of Vancouver sits the Georgia Hotel, once a venerable watering hole for UBC students, judges, lawyers, and Shaughnessy matrons. The Georgia is now refurbished and more opulent, and it has a new dining space called Hawksworth. Rare prime rib has been replaced with trendier fare. The new restaurant is described as hot and very, very sexy. David Hawksworth is the chef, owner at the helm of Hawksworth. It is my pleasure to welcome Executive Chef David Hawksworth to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Hello.
I like that. Hot, 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 and very, very sexy.
Yeah,
like all the people who work in the kitchen.
Of course.
Of course. I know you've told me this before. How did you get into the business of the food business in the beginning?
In the beginning, way back when, I was always interested in food, and when I was in high school, I had a part-time job, and I appreciated, good food for some reason, and then when I started working at the Fish House at Stanley Park, which was owned by Audrey Scalbania. I just met some really charismatic people and finished high school, and I thought it was just very interesting. Every day was different. And
I know at one point in your youth you wanted to be a firefighter.
Yeah. There's some pictures out there of me with in the West Van with some. But within all the fire trucks and stuff like that.
Sure.
And, yeah, that was an ambition. Yeah, that was. But
well, I'm sure you fight the odd fire in the kitchen.
Yes.
Or do you anymore?
Well, now it's all about
do?
Well, it's all about putting out fires and just sort of seeing them ahead of time, and just making sure that it's a raging machine that sort of needs to be. Just make sure that it's going in the right direction the whole time. So
sure.
it's there's so many things that can veer it off course.
Well, having been Chef of the Year in this city for many years and the head honch at West Restaurant, you had quite a reputation.
Yeah.
So people were expecting a lot when you said, you know what?
Well, I thought they all forgot.
They didn't, because it was the question on the street in the foodie circles. When is that Hawksworth going to open this restaurant? When's the Rosewood, Georgia going to be done?
Yeah.
And then when is the restaurant going to be open? Well, alas, alack.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there was a lot of pressure. There was, it was a bit of a wait for sure. But I knew we were onto a good thing. Spent a lot of time with the developers, Delta Land, and with the designers, Alexandra Munge, and they put so much time and passion into it. And I knew that, once we get open, it's going to be unbelievable. And it.
Well, you weren't born in 1927, but I think the hotel was, and I think they built the whole hotel for something like 1.5 mil. I don't know what the kitchen cost, but
pretty
probably
close to that.
Yes. So
Yeah.
take me on a tour, kind of a virtual tour of the essence of this restaurant. I was in yesterday, so I had a little peek.
Yeah, I mean, the bar is, starting at the bar. I've taken everything out of what kind of normally goes in a bar. Nowadays, so there's no cappuccino machine. There's no. It is purely a bar. Great people making cocktails. Brad Stanton's the bar manager, lounge manager there. He makes phenomenal cocktails. So
a special Georgia cocktail by any chance?
Yeah,
or
he
just
unearthed
straight martini.
Yeah, well, he
proper
unearthed
martini.
A recipe in 1945 and kept all the original ingredients and then just slightly modified the quantities of it. And I think we've sold thousands of them already. They're just, they go down way too quickly.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, when I immigrated to Vancouver, it was the only restaurant in town. Well, one of the only. Everybody went to the Georgia. If you had a birthday or a fancy something, Georgia Hotel.
Yeah, everybody's got a story about it.
Everybody
that's for sure.
does. Yeah. And I think Grace McCarthy had her flower shop there, and Webster worked out of the Georgia. And those of us who go back a bit will all tell you a million stories. But back to the revitalization of this hotel. Tell me about the artsy part. I saw a Rodney Graham on the wall.
Yeah, Rodney would dine at West kind of like 4 or 5 times a week sometimes, and I sort of became friends with him. And I had this idea when I worked back in the UK was Marco Pierre Whites and Damien Hirst kind of got together and did Quo Vadis, and I thought if I ever get it together, I'd like to have Rodney do something in one room. So I approached him about it, and we've got a 35-foot piece called Psychomania, which is based on a zombie movie. Quite fitting.
It's really beautiful, even though it's psychomania, and sometimes hungry patrons can be a bit psycho.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes the odd waiter can be
Or
a bit
chef.
off, or the chef. I hear tell.
Yeah. And then we're working on some more art for the bar right now. So I'm looking, hopefully that'll happen.
Local artists, is that important to you?
Well, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to get somebody, well, hopefully some Damien Hirst. So
wow.
Yeah, that would be that's going to hopefully happen the next couple of weeks.
Damien Hirst, that's important.
Yeah.
An important artist. And I saw a Brian Bolton, beautiful Brian Bolton of you.
Yeah, not naturally something I'd want to do, but my business partner said, "Oh, you've got to see this," and I'm like, really, and then they showed me some of the work, and I said, okay, well, let's have a look, and it took him 4 months, and painstaking. It's done by he took a photograph and then did it by hand by graphite.
Yes.
And you can be 3 inches away from it, and it looks
I know.
like
He's a brilliant artist.
like a photograph.
His boys series was spectacular. Why didn't I buy one? Well, I guess I better get on it.
Yeah, you should.
Yes, I should. So back to the restaurant, the menu, figuring it all out.
Well, it's very seasonal, and so we want to keep we want to show off as much local products as possible, and food basically tastes a lot better if it hasn't traveled as far. If you're getting stuff from Australia, then it's it's knackered by the time it gets here.
Right.
So it's spot prawns are just coming off the menu now because the commercial season's finished. Salmon is prevalent right now. It's ever evolving. Octopus, we've got on there now, so it's
really octopus. So, do we grow octopi?
They're out there.
They're out there.
Yeah. So when they go out for spot prawns, the octopus get caught up in that, and so it's a good way of using a bycatch.
Really?
Yeah.
What about abalone?
You can get some farmed from California. We don't have any on the menu right now, but you can get farmed from there. But yeah, it was very prevalent along the coast here, but they don't reproduce very quickly, and you can wipe out a bay in a day, and then that's it. It's gone. And
Sure, they were endangered for a while,
Yeah.
I know, and you were not supposed to bring them home.
Yeah.
So the mix, putting this together, for instance, tell me what goes through your brain, your creative brain.
There's a few of us in the kitchen, Christian and myself, Christian Eli, organizes the kitchen, and we'll talk about what we want to see on the menu, what people are wanting. So something like this, we're using a Oyama prosciutto, so it's a free-ranged organic
Oyama
pork.
from Granville Island.
Yeah. And so I think it's cured for about a year and dried, and then we have some smoked buttermilk. Like it's a panzanella, like a bread salad, so we'll use day-old focaccia. Some shaved
Smart.
fennel.
Budget.
Yep. That's the whole key. Some grilled pear, and then some ramps. And so ramps are an East Coast wild leek, and they're very kind of strong garlicky flavor. So what we do is pickle them. So it adds some acidity and makes it
a pickled ramp.
Yeah.
Who knew? So it's like a leek. From the East Coast, grows in the ground, like a leek, like an onion.
It's a very, very short season. They last for about maybe, 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
How did you discover ramps?
Well, they're really popular in New York, and so if you're there that time of the year, they're on every menu everywhere. So you go there, and ramps are everywhere. So then, okay, well, what do you do with them, right? So on the tops, we'll make a puree because they're beautiful green,
right.
And then they use the base right here. We'll pickle, and as they get a little bit bigger, it's.
And if you don't pickle them, can you use them in soups or something?
Yep. Really? I mean, they're somewhat expensive. I mean, if you could use them for a soup, but they're we I think probably 300 pounds of them, and so we had to do something with them, right? So pickling them as one way is.
When you pickle a ramp, add a little vinegar. What?
Vinegar, sugar, salt, and then add some mustard seeds, some thyme, garlic, that type of thing.
And then put it through the special machine. Is that a mandolin?
No, we'll just slice that one.
Just slice it. Okay, now smoked buttermilk? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you see it on a few menus here and there. And Christian came up with that one where you know, what we'll do is, you know, warm up the buttermilk with some acidity. It kind of splits out, and then we have a Polyscience smoking gun, and so we can add our chips to it, and then it'll just infuse that smoke flavor. That's quite interesting.
That's a lot of work, David.
Yeah, well, that's what it's about in the kitchen. That's what makes it interesting.
Well, and it's so pretty too.
Yeah.
Not only does it taste good, because you say you use local, finest ingredients, interesting ingredients. Do you travel a lot to New York and Paris and around the world?
Not as much as I'd like,
ideas?
but no, I did, you know, quite a few years ago, did a lot of traveling, and over the years been fortunate enough to eat in, you know, all over France
and you worked in
Italy.
Europe, right?
Yeah, I was there for 10 years. So
10 years, so you picked up a lot there.
Yeah.
But you didn't meet Elvis and you didn't meet Frank Sinatra, and now you have the ghost of Elvis and Sinatra roaming around.
It's great. It's funny because, you know, 6 years ago, or even, you know, kind of longer than that, that restaurant was closed. There was nothing there, and I knew that, you know, or I had a gut feelings that if we could get open there, it would be, we'd be good. So it was, you know, it was a dream come true to actually to look out across the art gallery and 6 lanes of traffic and just busy, bustling Vancouver.
Sure, and you also don't want it to be too opulent so that people feel intimidated.
No.
You want it to be beautiful. I mean, I'm putting words in your mouth, but does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I don't want to be that special occasion restaurant. I want people to, I mean, it is in a way, but at the same time, it's, you know, we have people coming 2 or 3 times a week, so it's...
Sure. So if you're staying in the hotel, can you stay in the hotel, or is it just residences now?
No, the hotel is fully functioning now. So,
still functioning. The Rosewood, I thought it was.
Yep.
Rosewood, Georgia Hotel, but you
yep.
can live there too.
Yeah, they're private residences, so there's a few left if you'd like to buy one.
Oh, not a problem for me. Well, what a dream though, to say, I think I feel like a little breakfast. Can I come down and have a nosh?
I know, there's yeah, it's a great spot. I mean, I think the residences will be finished next year, and the hotel is just stunning. So it's
well, and the idea of being able to go down and have a lovely dinner.
Yep, or a cocktail, or both.
Or well, that's the thing, because you won't get arrested on the elevator.
No.
No.
Well, you might.
You might. Well, that's true. So tell me about your fishing club, West Coast Fishing Club.
Yeah,
what's going on
I've
there?
been working
I know you
with
give back to charity a lot.
Yeah, well, it's I love fishing, and been working with the West Coast Fishing Club for a number of years, and they started up a charity, Fishing for Kids, and approached me and said, you know, would I like to help out with on this, and it was a no-brainer for me. There's lots of friends that go on it now, and I think they've raised something like $2 million in 6 years, if not more.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And there's only 50 people go. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Are you up at Langara?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And apparently I have people who have fished there for years who I know well. They've never taken me, but they tell me the food's great. Yeah. It's spectacular. I spend a lot of time in the in Haida Gwaii and places like that, but gee.
Yeah, no, it's
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's I mean, you need a vacation after you've finished that little trip, but it's 4 days up there. You know, the fishing I heard last week was just ridiculous. It was something back from like the 70s where people were catching 80 fish a day. No. Yeah, so
and they have great guides at Langara.
Yeah,
for sure. Do you pull out a halibut once a year or what?
You know, it's funny. I get so wrapped up in the salmon fishing that I don't really end up going halibut fishing, because it's you know, to go offshore and get thrown around out there.
Well, when a Top Chef catches a salmon, what do you do with it?
You know, I love the bellies, and you know, you'll see a lot of people not use them, but they have, you know, the most concentrated fat, right? And so, and fat equals flavor. So, and fish fat is good for you.
Okay,
so it's,
for sure.
Yeah, you know, lightly cooking the bellies and just with a little chimichurri or something kind of acidic and yeah, something very simple anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you get all your essential fatty acids.
Yes.
Don't you? Along with, what are those called again? Ranks?
Ramps.
Ramps. Rants. Whatever. How nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah, for sure. I'll come by. I'll come by and take another tour with you.
Good.
Okay, great. David Hawksworth, and he is the executive chef at Hawksworth in the Rosewood. Is it the Rosewood Hotel, Georgia?
The Rosewood,
Rosewood
Hotel,
Georgia Hotel. Rosewood Hotel, Georgia.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.